Get your ears wrapped around the Golden State Media Concepts Basketball Podcast. All the scoop you need to know from college basketball to the NBA and even March Madness. News of your rising stars. Topics on and off the hardwood. This is the Golden State Media Concepts Basketball Podcast.
Alright, and welcome to the GSMC Basketball Podcast. This episode is brought to you by the GSMC Podcast Network, and I am your host, Jesse Tapia. Alright, so it is Wednesday, March 7th. Here's how the show's going to go. Alright, we're going to be talking about yesterday's NBA games, which was Tuesdays. All right, we'll be doing that for the first segment. Second segment, we're going to talk, which is a better spot for LeBron, Philly or LA? Maybe we'll even throw in who has the better future and all that. So we're pretty much going to talk about both teams. All right, because we're going to be talking about it because there was a Laker fan that put up a billboard talking about how it said, I believe it said, forget the process, we win championships here. All right, made me laugh. I liked it. So we'll be doing that for the second segment. Third segment, there's been a lot of talk about how both conferences are wide open, especially the East and the West too. I think the West is more so just who gets to lose to the Warriors or Rockets in the second round. So we're going to be talking about all that. Like, how really wide open is everything in this league right now? I don't think it really is. I think there's 5 teams really with a true shot at I guess 2 teams in the West that can make it out of their conference, and then 3 teams in the East that can make it out of theirs. Obviously, you know which teams I'm talking about. All right, so we'll be doing that for the third segment. Fourth segment, we will be talking about anything else going on in the world of basketball right now, whether it be coming up March Madness, whether it be Kawhi Leonard going to be back this month, or whether it be anything else going on. Maybe we'll talk about the rookies this season, talk about how well they've been playing, how good this rookie draft class is. So we'll be doing that and making my picks for tonight's games, as we always do. So let's get into it right now. Let's talk about the games from last night. All right, so first up, we had the Philadelphia 76ers facing off with the Charlotte Hornets. Philly won this one, 128-114. For Philly, you had Dario Saric with 19 points, 5 rebounds, 3 assists, shot 7 of 11, 4 of 7 from the three-point line. Robert Covington, he had 22 points, 4 rebounds, had 2 assists, shot 7 of 11 from the field in that one, 5 of 9 from the three-point line. Joel Embiid had 18 points, 4 assists, 5 rebounds, shot 8 of 16, 0 of 3 from the three-point line. Ben Simmons, he had 16 points, 8 rebounds, 13 assists, shot 8 of 9 from the field. And then you had JJ Redick with 14 points, 4 of 8 from the field, 3 of 5 from the three-point line. As for the Hornets, you had Dwight Howard with 30 points, 6 rebounds, shot 12 of 17 from the field. Kemba Walker had 5 points, 7 assists, had 3 rebounds, shot 1 of 9, 0 of 5 from the three-point line. Nicholas Batum had 12 points, 10 assists, 4 rebounds, shot 3 of 5, 2 of 3 from the three-point line. Marvin Williams had 11 points, 5 rebounds, and off the bench you had Frank Kaminsky with 11 points, shooting 4 of 9, 1 of 2 from the three-point line. Philly, I mean, these are the games they should be winning. Yeah, Charlotte's been playing pretty well since the All-Star break, but if you're Philly and you want to pretty much position yourself in the top 8 as far as seeding goes, maybe end up with the 5th seed. I think right now the 6th seed, so pretty much just have you give yourself a good position. You got to be winning these games against bad teams, so good on them winning this one, all right? Nice game from Robert Covington, too. I could tell he's been struggling a little bit this year shooting the ball, but for him to come out here and put up 22 points in a game like this, nice little game from him. I mean, it's what Philly's going to need to. If they're going to want to knock off a team in the first round, like the Celtics, Cavs, or Raptors for that matter, you're going to need all hands on deck. So you're going to need a Robert Covington coming out playing well. You're going to need a Dario Saric playing well. You already know Joel Embiid and Ben Simmons can do their job, but you need those other guys to step up too. So I really like what they did yesterday. As for the next game, we had the Atlanta Hawks facing off with the Toronto Raptors, and Toronto won that one, 106-90. For Atlanta, I should say, you had John Collins with 14 points, 3 rebounds, 3 assists, shot 6 of 12 in that one. Taurean Prince had 9 points, 8 rebounds, 3 assists, shot 3 of 6, 2 of 5 from the three-point line. Dwayne Dedmon had 12 points, 10 rebounds. Dennis Schroeder with a bad game here, 11 points, 3 rebounds, 3 assists, shot 4 of 13 from the field, 2 of 3 from the three-point line. Kent Bazemore, 14 points, 5 assists, shot 6 of 8 from the field, 2 of 3 from the three-point line. As for the Raptors, you had Serge Ibaka with 10 points, 6 rebounds, shot 2 of 10, 2 of 7 from the three-point line. Jonas Valanciunas had 15 points, 7 rebounds, shot 4 of 11 from the field in this one. Kyle Lowry acting like he's back in the playoffs, shot 2 of 6, 0 of 4 from the three-point line, 4 points, 7 assists, 2 rebounds. DeMar DeRozan, 25 points, 4 assists, 3 rebounds, shot 6 of 12 from the field, 1 of 2 from the three-point line. And then you got off the bench, CJ Miles, 14 points, 7 rebounds, shot 5 of 11, 4 of 9 from the three-point line. Really business as usual for the Toronto Raptors here, all right? Got to win these games against bad teams. As for Atlanta, I mean, they got to be pretty happy they lost. Helps them in the tanking little competition they're in right now. But as far as Toronto goes, I want to keep talking them up. I want to keep thinking that Toronto can go out and make it out the East. But, I mean, it's just, that's the thing. Are they going to be able to show up in the playoffs? Is Kyle Lowry going to be able to show up in the playoffs? Is he going to go back into the locker room during the middle of a game and have to take a little mental break so he can get himself back into focus? I mean, is stuff like that going to happen? Are they going to finally figure it out? So you know what? We can finally play in the playoffs. We can finally beat these teams and finally make it out into the Eastern Conference Finals. All right. I mean, that's one thing too. Finals is a whole nother thing. How about you finally make it to the Eastern Conference Finals? All right. How about you finally do that? How about you finally get out of that first round, finally get out of that second round, and finally make some noise instead of being the regular season Warriors, pretty much. I'm not saying Warriors like the team in the West, but just the Warriors, the term. All right. That's what they are. They're just regular season Warriors. They win. They're like Peyton Manning for most of his career. Dude was lights out in the regular season, but when it came to making it out in the playoffs and winning the big games, I mean, he could never do it. Obviously, he came away with 2 Super Bowls. That last Super Bowl in Denver didn't count too. I know this is a basketball podcast, but we're kind of crossing over to football for a quick sec. That Super Bowl Peyton Manning won Denver. That's not really on Peyton Manning. It's going to show up in his little stat sheet, little accomplishments, stuff like that. But dude, they won that in spite of him. But nonetheless, getting back to it, the Raptors, yeah, they're just a really strong regular season team. They're going to show us that in the playoffs they can finally show up. So we'll see how it all goes down. But I really want the Raptors to do well. As for the next game, though, we had the Washington Wizards facing off with the Miami Heat. This game took place in Washington, and Washington won this one 117-113, all right? For Miami, you had James Johnson with 6 points, 3 rebounds. Josh Richardson had 16 points, shot 5 of 9, 3 of 5 from the three-point line. Hassan Whiteside, 8.6 rebounds. Goran Dragic with 16 points, 5 assists, 7 rebounds, shot 6 of 15 from the field in that one. Off the bench, you had Justice Winslow with 15 points, 6 rebounds, shot 6 of 11 from the field, 1 of 4 from the three-point line. Tyler Johnson had 21 points, 4 assists, 3 rebounds, shot 8 of 15 from the field, 2 of 6 from the three-point line. And then you had Dwayne Wade with 22 points, 6 assists, shot 8 of 18 from the field, 0 of 5 from the three-point line. As for the Wizards, you had Markieff Morris, 16 points, 13 rebounds, shot 6 of 12, 2 of 3 from the three-point line. Otto Porter, 12 points, 5 rebounds, 5 assists. Marcin Gortat had 8 points, 6 rebounds. Bradley Beal, 30 points, 6 rebounds, 7 assists, shot 12 of 16 from the field in this one. 6 of 7 from the three-point line. Dude was on fire the entire game. Tomas Satoransky, 19 points, 7 assists, shot 6 of 12 from the field, hit 1 3 in this one. And off the bench, you had Kelly Oubre Jr. with 14 points, shot 3 of 8, 2 of 6 from the three-point line. I'm kind of intrigued by the Wizards right now, all right? They're a really good team right now, but what happens when you get John Wall back for the playoffs? Is your team going to get better or is it going to get worse? And if it gets worse, then what's going to happen in the offseason, all right? This Wizards team is not just playing well against the bad teams, they're playing well against the good teams, all right? It's not like just they're just hanging around either. They're winning these games. They're playing extremely well. They're a half game out of the 4 seed and a game back of the 3 seed, I believe. It takes one Cavs loss and one Wizards win to put them into that 3 seed. It's going to be interesting to see really what happens with this team. Like I said, I'm not sure. Are they going to get better or are they going to get worse? And it's kind of crazy to say because John Wall is a top point guard in this league and even a top 12, top 10 player possibly in this league too when he's healthy. All right. So like I said, it's going to be interesting to see what Washington does as far as when he gets back. Obviously, you can't sit him and you're going to have to start him. So I'm just really curious to see what they're going to do in the playoffs as far as how well they play. As for the Heat, I mean, they're going to be making the playoffs. The Pistons are terrible. Charlotte's just too far out to make a run. All right, now it's just a matter of just getting better day by day and hoping that you can knock off Raptors, Celtics, or a Cavs team. Very well could knock off the Raptors, very well could knock off the Celtics, very well could knock off the Cavs. Just a matter of which Heat team shows up. But as for the next game, we had the Houston Rockets facing off with the Oklahoma City Thunder, and the Rockets won this one 122-112. For the Rockets, you had PJ Tucker with 10 points, 6 rebounds. Trevor Ariza had 15 points, shot 4 of 8 from the field, 3 of 5 from the three-point line. Clint Capella had 10 points, 3 rebounds. Chris Paul had 25 points, 5 assists, 4 rebounds, shot 7 of 14, 5 of 6 from the three-point line. James Harden had 23 points, 11 assists, 5 rebounds, shot 8 of 13 from the field, 1 of 3 from the three-point line. Eric Gordon had 14 points, 5 rebounds, shot 3 of 7, 3 of 6 from the three-point line off the bench. And then for the Thunder, you had Carmelo Anthony, 23 points, 4 rebounds, shot 8 of 18, 4 of 10 from the three-point line. Paul George had 17 points, 5 assists, 4 rebounds, shot 7 of 16 in this one, 2 of 8 from the three-point line. Steven Adams had 16 points, 8 rebounds. Russell Westbrook, 32 points, 7 assists, 4 rebounds, shot 15 of 27 from the field, 0 of 4 from the three-point line. And, the Thunder, they started off the season really poorly, picked it up towards the middle of the season, and now as the season's starting to wrap up a bit, we got 20 games left, I believe it is. Let's see, how many games have the Thunder played so far? Let's see, we got 66 right there. All right, so about 66 games. We got about 16 left. The Thunder really, they're not showing me that they could even make it out the first round. All right, they're not at all. Let me see what the standings are looking like in the West right now. The Thunder are the 7th seed right now in the West. I know that for a fact. I got to see how far out the Jazz are currently. Let's see. The Clippers are currently half game out of the 8th seed behind the Denver Nuggets, and they're currently a game and a half back of the Thunder for that 7th seed. Jazz are 2 games back of the Thunder, all right? The Thunder just aren't playing good basketball right now. They're not at all. It takes 2 losses from the Thunder and a couple of wins from the Clippers and Jazz for them to be out of the playoff position, all right? The Thunder, if they miss the playoffs this year, you can kiss Paul George goodbye, all right? And they're just not going to be a good team. I'm not sure if it's just Russell Westbrook just doesn't make the players around him better and players just don't look good around him, or it's just a matter of, hey, maybe you can't win with 3 primary ball-handling players on one team. Maybe it's just that. Who would have knew? As for the Rockets, it's just business as usual, beating up on the teams they should be. The Thunder, I wouldn't really consider them that good of a team. They're an average team at best, maybe above average at the most. But I don't know. It's the Thunder. I don't really trust them too much, right? Made a bet with a friend that the Warriors would sweep the Thunder in the playoffs. And, that could happen, honestly. You're telling me that the Thunder could maybe get a game or two? I could see them getting a game out of Golden State. But, other than that, anything else is just, it's not happening. So the Thunder really got to figure out what's going on there. As for the next game, we have the Denver Nuggets facing off with the Dallas Mavericks, and the Mavericks won this one 118-107. For Denver, you had Paul Millsap with 12 points, 6 rebounds, 3 assists, shot 3 of 10 from the field in this one. Wilson Chandler had 21 points, shot 7 of 12, 3 of 5 from the three-point line. Nikolai Jokic with 4 points, 9 rebounds, 5 assists, shot 2 of 9 from the field. Jamal Murray had 6 points, shot 2 of 8, 1 of 4 from the three-point line. Gary Harris, 11 points, 3 rebounds, 2 assists, shot 5 of 13 from the field, 1 of 5 from the three-point line. Just a real terrible game from the starting 5 of this Denver Nuggets team, too, besides Wilson Chandler. Off the bench, we had Trey Lyles with 10 points, 5 rebounds. Will Barton with 16 points, 8 rebounds, 7 assists. One of the Plumlee brothers, I think it's Mason Plumlee or is it Miles Plumlee? Either way, it's a Plumlee brother. He had 10 points in this one, 7 rebounds. And then you had Malik Beasley with 10 points, 3 rebounds. As for the Mavericks, you had Harrison Barnes with 15 points, 7 rebounds, shot 7 of 18 from the field. Dirk Nowitzki had 17 points, 4 rebounds, shot 6 of 11. Yogi Ferrell had 24 points, 4 rebounds, shot 9 of 11 from the field, 6 of 7 from the three-point line. Dennis Smith Jr., 18 points, 11 assists, 5 rebounds, shot 7 of 16. Then off the bench, you had Doug McDermott with 15 points. And totally forgot, Nerlens Noel was even on this Mavericks team. He had 8 points, 14 rebounds, shot 3 of 6 in this one. Just completely forgot he was even on this team. Just didn't remember. When I saw the stat sheet, I was like, oh yeah, I forgot. Nerlens Noel plays for these guys. But pretty decent game off the bench. 8 points, 14 rebounds. Once again, Mavericks won that one, 118-107. As for the next game, we had the New York Knicks facing off with the Portland Trail Blazers. Damian Lillard went off once again. He had 37 points in a 111-87 win against the Knicks. Like I said, he had 37 points, shot 10 of 18, 8 of 11 from the three-point line. CJ McCollum had 19 points, 4 assists, 6 rebounds, shot 7 of 18 from the field, 5 of 7 from the three-point line. You had Joseph Nurkic with 11 points, 8 rebounds, 4 assists, shot 5 of 8. For the Knicks, you had Tim Hardaway Jr. with 19 points, 8 of 18 shooting, 3 of 6 from the three-point line. Enes Kanter with 18 points, 11 rebounds, shot 6 of 9. Manuel Mudiay with 3 points, 4 assists, shot 1 of 9 from the field in this one. Frank Ntilikina got the start in this one, 6 points, 2 rebounds, 2 assists, shot 2 of 7 from the field. A Wolf 1 from the three-point line. Once again, the Trailblazers won this one, 111-87. Trailblazers playing good basketball right now. They're 3 seed in the West. Never really would have thought about it. All right, the Trailblazers are usually a team that usually finishes 5th, 6th seed. Never really does too much, but they're playing good ball. As for the next game, just business as usual for the Warriors. They won this. They beat the Nets 114-101. You had Damari Carroll with 19 points, 7 rebounds. Spencer Dinwiddie 13 points, 6 assists. D'Angelo Russell 20 points, 8 assists, and you had Allen Crabbe with 9 points, shot 3 of 10, 0 of 5 from the 3-point line. For the Warriors, you had Draymond Green with 16 points, 9 assists, 5 rebounds, shot 7 of 12 in that one. KD had 19 points, 6 rebounds. Steph Curry had 34 points, 6 rebounds, 4 assists, shot 12 of 20 from the field, 6 of 12 from the 3-point line. And Klay Thompson, he had 18 points, 5 rebounds, 5 assists, 8 of 15 shooting, 2 of 5 from the 3-point line. All right, not much to say about the Warriors in this one. Just pretty much did what they were supposed to, beat the Nets 114-101. As for the final game of the night, all right, Pelicans won yet again. They beat the Clippers 121-116. Anthony Davis been on fire. 41 points, 13 rebounds, shot 17 of 31 from the field, 4 of 7 from the 3-point line. Emeka Okafor had 9 points, 7 rebounds. Rajon Rondo 13 points, 9 assists, shot 5 of 10, 3 of 5 from the 3-point line. Drew Holiday had 19 points, 17 assists, 4 rebounds, shot 7 of 22 from the field, 2 of 3 from the 3-point line. Never really see that too much from Drew Holiday as far as assists goes. I mean, 17 assists, that's pretty big right there. Played extremely well. Tobias Harris for the Clippers had 27 points, 11 rebounds, shot 11 of 24 from the field, 3 of 10 from the 3-point line. DeAndre Jordan had 10 points, 20 rebounds. Then off the bench, you had Montrezl Harrell with 26 points, 8 rebounds, shot 11 of 17 from the field. And then Lou Williams with 27 points, 11 assists, shot 9 of 20, 2 of 7 from the field in that one. All right, once again, the Pelicans won this one 121-116. Anthony Davis is building himself quite the MVP campaign right now. All right, the Pelicans finish as a 3 seed, and Davis keeps continuing to play that way that he is. He could very well take it away from Harden. Just imagine Harden once again just doesn't win MVP. That'd be crazy. But anyway, that's going to wrap it up for this segment. Next up, we're going to talk about the Sixers and Lakers, so stay tuned, and we'll be right back.
Are you looking for the very best NFL and college football podcast? Then check out the GSMC Football Podcast. Get the latest football news both on and off the field. From the NFL Draft to trades to the rumor mill to the NFL Combines. They got you covered. That's GSMCpodcast.com/football-podcast. Get updates on college rivalries, game day insights, and much, much more. It's football talk the way you want it. This show eats, sleeps, and breathes football. Don't forget to like them on Facebook and follow them on Twitter. Visit GSMCpodcast.com for more info.
All right, and welcome back to the GSMC Basketball Podcast. We spent that first segment recapping Tuesday's NBA games. And for this segment, we're going to be talking about pretty much the Sixers and the Lakers, all right? Both seem to be fighting, at least the fans, I guess whoever's buying these billboards, seem to be fighting over the prettiest girl in the ball, all right? LeBron James. That's a really, I really said that. But either way, they're fighting over LeBron, all right? They are fighting over him. Who's going to get him? Who knows? I mean, chances are it's probably not going to be either of those teams. But either way, both teams want LeBron, or at least both fans want LeBron. If I'm the Lakers, I don't really want LeBron. We talked about this on Monday, I believe. All right? LeBron's a great player. Best player in the league by far. But I think you get LeBron, you get Paul George. All right? You get Paul George and LeBron. That's going to stunt the growth of Lonzo Ball. It's going to stunt Brandon Ingram, and it's going to stunt Kyle Kuzma. Okay? And another thing, too, like I mentioned on Monday, LeBron doesn't like LeVar Ball. This isn't just like, oh, it's basketball, he's not going to care. No, they're humans. This matters, all right? If you're telling yourself it doesn't matter that LeBron doesn't like LeVar Ball, then you're just lying to yourself, all right? It matters. Trust me. All right, LeBron didn't want to play with Lonzo Ball because he doesn't want to hear LeVar Ball. Then Lakers will ship out Lonzo faster than anyone can, all right? He will be gone in an instant, okay? Let's not forget, LeBron has a lot of power in this league. So, I don't know. It's interesting. Both these teams fighting for him. But, I mean, who's going to get him? All right, who's better set up to bring in LeBron? So, you got Philly. You got Robert Covington. You got Dario Saric. You got Ben Simmons. And you got Joel Embiid. right now. JJ Redick's on a 1-year deal, and Philly does have some nice bench pieces, but they'll all be gone once LeBron gets there because LeBron's going to bring in his own guys like how he always does for the bench, all right? And as for the Lakers, I mean, you got Lonzo, you got Brandon Ingram, you got Julius Randle, Kyle Kuzma, and those are the core 4 players right there, I believe, all right? Traded away Larry Nance, he's in Cleveland with LeBron right now. Traded away Jordan Clarkson, he's also in Cleveland with LeBron right now, all right? Who would be better off with LeBron? That question is easy. It's Philly, all right? Philly by far would be better off with LeBron. With LeBron, Philly is a top 2 team in the East, probably even the best team in the East, okay? LA with LeBron, well, they're no better than the Rockets. They are not, let me tell you, all right? Philly's younger team is more established, I guess you could say. The Lakers' younger team is more so trying to develop still and trying to develop into those star players that Philly already has, all right? Ben Simmons is already one of the better. Do we consider Ben Simmons a point guard? That's the position he's been playing all year. Will we consider Ben Simmons a point guard? And if so, how good of a point guard is he as far as rankings? All right. Let's go off the top of my head. Let's see, not the top of my head. I'm going to go team through team and see which teams have solid point guards. All right. Let's see real quick. We got Boston, Kyrie Irving. All right. I'll put him. We'll go division by division. All right. So Kyrie Irving. And then you get Kyle Lowry. You got Steph Curry. Let's see, no one else in the Pacific Division, really. Let's go Central in the East. No one in there, really. Yeah, no one there. There's really a shortage of really good point guards. You got James Harden in the Southwest. Would we consider James Harden a point guard, too? I'm going to consider him a point guard. You got Chris Paul. That's 5 point guards right there. All right. Memphis, no. New Orleans, no. San Antonio, no. Atlanta, no. Kemba, is he better than Ben Simmons? As of right now, I guess you could say. So that's 6. I'll take Simmons over Dragic. I'll take Dragic. Dragic needs some more respect. You got John Wall at 8. All right, then you get Timberwolves. Westbrook, 9. This is in order. I'm just naming point guards better than Simmons right now. Lillard, 10. All right, so there's about 10 point guards better than Ben Simmons right now if we're considering Ben Simmons a point guard. And I'm not even sure if you consider Goran Dragic or Kemba Walker better. I just think they've been in the league longer, so you got to give them the respect, all right? So Ben Simmons is the top point guard in this league. But let's look at it this way, okay? I was talking about it last time I talked about Philly and LeBron. Ben Simmons becomes pretty useless, I think, if you got LeBron on that team. Ben Simmons is better with the ball in his hands, all right? LeBron is a guy who needs the ball in his hands because he's the best player in the world, and he's a whole lot better that way too. You can't just have Ben Simmons sitting on the wing pretty much waiting for the ball like a Kevin Love does because Ben Simmons can't shoot the ball. And this isn't like the old NBA where you could have 2 players in the post. It doesn't work that way. All right? You're going to have Joel Embiid out there unless you want to put Embiid on the wing, but that's going to be counteractive because that's going to take Embiid out of it. So I just don't think LeBron really fits in too well with the Sixers. Obviously, they'd make it work because I'm saying they'd be a top 2 team in the East, probably the best team in the East. They'd figure out a way, all right? But it's just, I don't like the fit. And that's the same thing with the Lakers. The Lakers have a good thing going right now. You got Lonzo Ball, you got Ingram, you got Randle, and you got Kuzma. Those are all guys who are going to be solid players in this league. Let them develop. Let them turn into the players they can be instead of having LeBron and Paul George go over there and stunt their growth. Paul George isn't going to make you a better team. Oh, he's going to make you a better team, I guess you could say, but he's not going to make you that much better. He'll make you an 8th seed, a 7th seed type team. LeBron and Paul George, that's going to make you 4th, 5th seed, but I don't know. You're just not going to be able to compete with the Rockets or Warriors, all right? Honestly, if I'm LeBron, I'm heading over to Houston, okay? That's the team that's built right now to go out and beat the Warriors, all right? You put LeBron there, obviously they're not going to be shooting the 3 in the entire time. They're probably going to even have a better game plan. You could have 3 solid players like Chris Paul. He could play well off the ball. James Harden, we all know he can. So you could have LeBron dominating the ball the entire time. And even then, you could have Chris Paul dominating. LeBron can play well off the ball. All right? That's where he needs to go. He needs to go to Houston, not LA and not Philly. All right? Philly's not beating the Warriors. LA's not beating the Warriors. All right? And the Celtics with Gordon Hayward, are we even sure that Philly beats them? Like, for sure is what I'm saying. Obviously, they're going to have a great chance, and they'd probably be the favorites. But either way, Boston right now is the top team in the East, and they don't even have the guy that was supposed to be their second best player. All right? So as far as it all goes, I mean, I don't know. I just don't really like the fit for LeBron and Philly or LA. I think they got a good thing going. Keep building up and keep drafting well. All right? Just let the players develop. But as far as right now, who's the best set team as far as the future goes, I got to say Philly. Right now, Philly's already got 2 stars. Ben Simmons and Joel Embiid, all right? Those players are already stars. Joel Embiid's already a top 5 center in the league. Ben Simmons very well next year might be a top point guard in this league, all right? And that's one thing, too. Speaking of point guards, you got Markelle Fultz. I say Philly should just come out and say, you know what, we're shutting him down. He's not playing this season, so stop asking about it, and boom. Don't have to worry about it. But as far as Markelle Fultz, when he comes back next season, maybe he figures it out. Maybe he gets his shoulder fixed up. Maybe he fixes his shot, and maybe he's just not mentally shook. Maybe he's a good point guard, the point guard we all expected him to be. Maybe that happens. Then that's even added to that Philly core, and it's going to make him even better. As far as the Lakers go, they have stars in the making, but they're just not there yet. They're not on the level of a Joel Embiid or Ben Simmons. All right, Lonzo Ball, great point guard right now, but not even on Ben Simmons' level. All right, very well could be in the next couple of years, but it's going to take some time. He's got to get better. All right, shot's been falling a little bit more. Just keep developing it, and it'll keep going. And you know what? Ben Simmons, yeah, he's that much better at everything else than Lonzo Ball. Okay? He just is. It is what it is. As far as Brandon Ingram, turning into a little mini Kevin Durant right now. All right? Turning into a great scorer. Got to continue to do that. His mid-range is looking nice. Got to work on the three-point shot and got to work on driving in a little bit more. I really like Brandon Ingram's mid-range game. As far as Kuzma, dude's a solid player. That dude is a baller off the bench, all right? If I'm the Lakers, I'm trying to figure out a way to get DeAndre Jordan on my team. If he opts out of his contract, look at this. You'd have Lonzo Ball. You're probably going to have to find another 2-guard too, because Kentavious Caldwell-Pope is not the guy. Brandon Ingram, have Kuzma play the 4, and then you have DeAndre Jordan at the 5, right? That's the way the NBA is going. Small ball. That would work. The Lakers would be a playoff team then if you had DeAndre Jordan and a solid 2-player. All right? I really like what the Lakers are doing now, but it's going to take time for them to develop, and you bring in LeBron, it's just going to stunt the growth. All right? You're not beating the Warriors or the Rockets. You're going to be a good team for a few years, but what happens after LeBron leaves or retires or whatever? You're just not going to be a great team. So I say just let it develop, let it keep going, and just pretty much let it all play out. But like I said, if I'm LeBron and I'm thinking, do I want to go to Philly or LA? I don't want to go to either. I want to go to Houston. Houston can beat the Warriors with LeBron on that team. They can. You got Eric Gordon, you got Gerald Green, you got Clint Capella. That's a solid team, dude. So, I mean, we're going to see how it all ends up. But like I said, as far as these fans competing against each other, the billboards and stuff like that, it's going to get creative. All right, right now Houston's in the middle of a little playoff race in the West, trying to stay as that 1 seed. They're too busy for this right now. Lakers and Sixers, they're doing this because they know their season doesn't really go past the first round for Philly, and pretty much the season ends once the regular season's over for LA. All right, so that's why they're doing it. It's just two bad teams going about it. And as far as the whole we win championships type thing, when's the last time you won a championship, LA? Honestly, you don't even have the most championships in the league. So, I mean, I get the whole sentiment. It was funny. It made me laugh. And I think as far as the billboard battle goes, I think they did beat Philly. All right, Philly, yeah, trust the process. Philly's an overrated franchise too. All right, you get Dr. J, cool. When was the last time you guys won a title? The Lakers at least won a title in 2010. When was the last time you won a title, Philly? The only reason you're so relevant is because you play in a big media market. You're no better than the New York Knicks as far as overall franchises go. New York Knicks, by far, most overrated franchise in the history of the league. All right? So, I mean, I don't know. I just really don't like how these big media market teams try and carry themselves as a Laker type franchise or a Celtics type franchise. You're not even close to that. You're not even a better franchise than the Chicago Bulls. All right? They're not at all. And I really hope there's Philly fans listening to this because it's true. But anyway, that's all I got to say about that. Like I said, LeBron, if he's smart, he's going to Houston. If not, go to Philly. All right? And if I'm LA, I don't want LeBron because of the fact that we got some building going on right now. And I think LeBron and Paul George will just stunt that growth. So we'll see how it all ends up. Next up, though, we're going to be talking about how wide open each conference is. All right, it's starting to be a conversation that's being brought up more so in the East than the West because we all know what two teams are going to be competing for the West. But we'll be talking about that. And like I said, for the fourth segment, we'll be talking about anything else going on in the world of basketball. So stay tuned, and we'll be right back.
Check out the show that's built on the MMA. From the UFC to extreme cage fighting, they got the fights covered. Check out the GSMC MMA podcast. Get the latest news on past or upcoming fights. Join us as we talk to and about some of the biggest names in the MMA, past, present, and future. When it's the fight game, there's just one show to check out. GSMCpodcast.com/MMA-podcast. Don't forget to like them on Facebook and follow them on Twitter. Visit gsmcpodcast.com for more info.
All right, and welcome back to the GSMC Basketball Podcast. So far today, we talked about yesterday's NBA games, which was Tuesdays, and we talked about Philly and the Lakers, right? We did a little segment on them. You probably enjoyed if you're a Lakers fan more than you're a Philly fan, because I did say some things about Philly as far as them being an overrated franchise, which I still believe, all right? Philly's an overrated franchise. I said it again, and I'm going to stick to it, all right? At least the Lakers got championships, all right? But either way, as far as LeBron, if you were to pick between those two teams, obviously it's got to be Philly because you have the better opportunity at winning something, but you're not, you have an opportunity, but you're not beating the Warriors. It's better off just going to the Rockets, all right? But either way, that's what we talked about. This segment, we're going to talk about how wide open the East or West is truly, all right? So we'll be doing that. And then next up, we'll be talking about pretty much anything else going on in basketball and making my picks for tonight's NBA games. So let's get into it. I've been seeing a lot of media outlets talking about how, the East is wide open. Any team can come out and win it. The West is open, and any team can go out. And like the West, I don't really understand that. When people say as though like the West is wide open, do they mean that any team can make the playoffs or any team can make it out the West? And I'm sure it's probably more so any team can make the playoffs because it is pretty close between the Jazz, who are like got the 10th best record in the West right now. So, I mean, they do have a chance at making it, but the whole, the West is open. It doesn't matter what happens in the West. It doesn't matter at all. All right, if you're a Trailblazers fan, if you're a Pelicans fan, if you're a Thunder fan, if you're a Spurs fan, if you're a Timberwolves fan, if you're a Jazz fan, a Clippers fan, Nuggets fan, any fan in the West besides the Rockets and Warriors, your season does not matter. All right, it is over. All right, it is over. You're not beating the Warriors. You're not beating the Rockets. Maybe you'll just be happy making it out the first round and getting bounced by one of those two teams. But, I mean, I don't understand the whole West is open. Is that what it is right there? Just so much just as far as talking about maybe our team could make it out the first round. I don't know. If you finished in the 7th or 8th spot, you're not making it out the first round. All right? So that goes for Thunder, Jazz, Nuggets, or Clippers fans, because I'm sure two out of those 4 teams are going to be the 7th and 8th seed. As far as the 6 through 3 seeds, yeah, I guess if you're excited about making out the first round, yeah, you have a chance. Portland finally has a chance. They could knock off the Spurs. They could knock off the Timberwolves. I don't know if they could knock off the Pelicans. And the Pelicans are probably the best team out of those teams 3 through 10. All right? And I'm saying 10 because the Jazz, Clippers all have a chance at making the playoffs. But, I mean, the Pelicans are by far the best team out of there. Anthony Davis is playing like a man just a man going crazy. All right? Dude can't be stopped. But as far as the West goes, I don't really understand the whole it's wide open type thing. All right? Yeah, wide open to make the playoffs, sure, but we all know how this all ends. All right? As far as the East goes, though, that's a different story. Or is it? All right? I think there's just 3 teams that can make it out the East. The Cavs, the Celtics, and the Raptors, all right? You got the Wizards, you got the Pacers, you got the Bucks, you got the Sixers, you got the Heat. All pretty good teams. But it's the same thing in the West. Or actually, it's not, because you know what? A team like the Sixers possibly could make it into the Eastern Conference Finals, possibly. It's possible, all right? They could very well play a team like the Raptors in the Eastern Conference semis. They could knock them off. As of right now, we'd be having the Cavs playing the Celtics in the East semis, all right? The Raptors, as they've shown us the last, few years, they can't really make it out of the second round. They can barely make it out the first round, all right? Kyle Lowry has this little thing where he turns into a magician and disappears from the playoffs. DeMar DeRozan, he's not as lights out as he usually is in the regular season. The only difference between those years and now is now the Raptors finally have a decent bench. All right? But as far as the Sixers go, yeah, they could make it to the Eastern Conference Finals. I think, you know what, out of those teams from 4 through 8, they have the best chance. I really, truly believe that. All right? See, Philly, it's not all bad. Just because you guys are an overrated franchise doesn't mean I'm always going to say bad things about you guys. All right? But nonetheless, getting back to it, yeah, Philly has a chance to make it to the Eastern Conference Finals. And that sounds kind of crazy as I'm saying it. But like I said earlier, you got Robert Covington playing well. You got Dario Saric playing well. You got JJ Redick who could play well. All right, that's all you need. You already got Ben Simmons and Joel Embiid who you know is going to show up. And you know what? Maybe, I don't know. Because you know what? The playoffs, it's a new thing for them. They've never been in it. All right. It's going to be interesting to see, though. Right now, I think the top 2 teams in the East are the Celtics and Raptors. Then it's a drop off between the Cavs, and then I don't even think there's a drop off there. It's the top tier teams in the East right now are the Celtics and Raptors. All right. And we can't keep putting the Cavs in there just because they got LeBron. We can't. This team is 7 games behind Boston, I think, for the number 2 seed, and like 8 games behind Toronto, 8.5 games behind Toronto for the first seed. We can't keep putting the Cavs in that category just because LeBron James plays on that team. Eventually, we're going to start seeing everyone else play well, and it's just not happening. Okay? But as far as it all goes out the East, I mean, it's not that wide open. I think it's just a narrative everyone's trying to pull off just so it brings in more interest. All right, the Bucks, they're not making it to the Eastern Conference Finals, at least I don't think. The Heat definitely aren't. The Wizards and Pacers, like one of them's going to knock each other out in the first round. Then you're going to have the Wizards who, I don't know, could be playing. Let's see. How would it go right here? Let's see. Let me look at the standings real quick. So the matchups right now in the playoffs in the East, it'd be the Raptors facing off with the Heat, the Celtics facing off with the Bucks, Cleveland facing off with the Sixers, and that's a tough matchup right there. And then the Pacers facing off with the Wizards. Let's do a quick little rundown of who I think beats who. All right, let's go. We got the Raptors versus the Heat. I got Toronto winning in that series. Boom, they advance. I got the Celtics beating the Bucks. Boom, they advance. I guess I don't want to, but I have to take the Cavs against the Sixers just because, I mean, I don't know. I don't want to. I really like the Sixers team this year. All right? I really, truly do. The Sixers could be that sleeper team in the playoffs this year. All right? And maybe, I don't know. Do I want to go out on a limb and say the Sixers beat the Cavs? No, I got to say the Cavs. All right? And then I'll have the Wizards beating the Pacers. So it'd be the Wizards versus the Raptors and the Celtics versus the Cavs. I got to go Raptors beating the Wizards and then the Celtics beating the Cavs. I really don't like this Cavs team at all. I don't whatsoever. Right? And then between Raptors and the Celtics, I mean, you can go between whoever. The Raptors could pull that out. Celtics could pull that out. I just wanted to have like a little idea of what's going on. But if, like, say Philly drops to the 7th seed, all right, and it very well could happen. It's not just because the Philly plays bad or whatever. Just they lose one game, Bucks win a couple, boom, it's switched. All right, if Philly ends up playing, I don't know. I don't like Philly's chances against Boston. I think Brad Stevens, he always has a solid game plan as to how to limit Embiid and Simmons. At least he's shown that this season. So I just don't think Philly matches up too well with Boston right now. I mean, that series could go very well 7 games. I just think Boston will be able to pull it out. I think Philly is more dangerous facing off with a team like the Cavs and Raptors. All right, just because I think Cleveland doesn't really match up too well with Philly, and I don't think they Raptors match up too well with Philly either. All right, I really want to see a Philly versus Celtics Eastern Conference Finals series. Imagine the young kids of the Philadelphia 76ers making it to the Eastern Conference Finals and having an opportunity to make it to the finals. All right, that's what gets LeBron to Philly right there. All right, if you know what, perfect. Philly wants LeBron, beat the Cavs in the first round. That's how you get him there. All right? And that'd be crazy. LeBron goes to the team that knocked him out in the first round. Not as crazy as KD going to the team that knocked him out in the Western Conference Finals. Was the Western Conference Finals the Western Conference Semis? I think it was the Western Conference Semi where the Warriors beat the Thunder. All right? And obviously, like, LeBron, like, I think everyone besides people in Cleveland, like, they have to think that LeBron is leaving this summer, right? I mean, do we really think that there's a way that LeBron comes back to the Cavs? Because like I said, I don't even have this team making it into the conference finals, honestly. I don't think they could beat a Toronto Raptors team or a Boston Celtics team. I just don't. All right? Like I said, it's the top tier in the East right now. It's the Raptors and Celtics. After that, there's a drop-off, and the Cavs aren't in that top tier. They're 9 games back of the first seed right now, 7 games back of the Celtics. All right? How do you lump them in with the Raptors and Celtics? All right? The only way you do is if you just say, it's LeBron. LeBron, that's why. All right? That's literally the only reason. You can't tell me if you're matching up player for player with these two teams that the Cavs are comparable. There's only one player that makes a difference. You take LeBron off of this Cavs team, they're not making the playoffs. All right? A team like that, you take one player off, you can't tell me that they're a playoff team or they're a team that belongs up there. All right? So with all that, I mean, I guess, yeah, the East is wide open, but I mean, it's between 3 teams, honestly. And one of those 3 teams, I don't even think, I like Philly more than I like Cleveland in the playoffs, honestly. If they don't end up playing the Celtics, I like Philly a lot. All right? And Philly, that's going to be a team that's going to be competing with Boston the next few years, all right? Eventually, they're going to be able to match up well with Boston and be able to beat them. Eventually, Brad Stevens isn't going to be able to find out a game plan to stop a guy like Joel Embiid, all right? Philly's still a young team who's trying to grow. But I just think Brad Stevens knows the way to beat them right now. As far as the Cavs and Raptors go, Ty Lue's not that great of a coach, all right? He's not. It is what it is. He's a nice little assistant coach, but he's just not that great, all right? I really like Philly more than Cleveland right now. And that's crazy to say because Philly's the 6th seed right now. Philly's only 2 games back of Cleveland right now. I just realized that. Philly's the 6th seed, and Cleveland obviously the 3 seed. Philly's only 2 games back. All right? So as far as it all goes down, I mean, the East is open, but it's really Toronto and Boston's to lose. Cleveland could insert themselves back in there if they end up playing defense, and I really want to pick Philly. If it was the end today, I'd really like to pick Philly against a team like Cleveland in the first round. All right? I really would. But I guess you can't yet, and it's tough because LeBron just, I hate doing this too. I hate talking about specific players as far as playoff wins and all that goes. All right? I hate talking rings when it comes to top players in the league because those are team statistics, but I mean, facts are facts. None of LeBron's teams have lost in the first round, and maybe this could be the year it happens. Maybe it's just it won't. All right? But as far as it all goes down, the West isn't wide open. All right? Yeah, I guess for teams to make playoffs, sure, but the West, it's going to go through Houston or Golden State. One of those teams is going to make it out. And as far as the East goes, it's going to be between Toronto and Boston, possibly Philly if they have the right teams going forward. All right? But that's all I got to say about that. We're going to wrap up this segment. Next up, we're going to talk about Kawhi Leonard. We're going to talk about what difference he makes as far as coming back to the Spurs this month, and if they can go out and beat a team like the Rockets or Warriors. So we'll be talking about that and pretty much anything else going on in basketball. So stay tuned, and we will be right back.
Check out the show built around the women of MMA. From the UFC to the extreme cage fighting, we got the fights covered.
Listen.
It's the Golden State Media Concepts Women's MMA Podcast. The latest news of upcoming fights, discussions of previous matches. Join us as we talk to and about the biggest names in women's mixed martial arts, past, present, and future. When it's the women's fight game, you know where to listen to. The Golden State Media Concepts Women's MMA Podcast.
All right, and welcome back to the GSMC Basketball Podcast. So far today, we talked about yesterday's NBA games, which was Tuesdays. We talked about Philly and the Lakers, and we talked about how wide open each conference is in the NBA. All right, we've actually talked a lot about Philly in this show. We said some bad things, we said some good things. All right, if you're a Philly fan, you should have enjoyed this episode. All right, what we said about Philly in the last segment was they could find themselves into the Eastern Conference Finals. It's possible. All right, if you just stop and think, because look at, they could beat Cleveland in the first round. It could happen. They could beat Toronto in the Eastern semis. All right, That all could happen. I just don't like the way they match up with Boston. Pretty much Brad Stevens has had Joel Embiid's number this year. Yeah, Brad Stevens. He's the one who's drawing up the game plans, all right? So I just don't like the way they match up with Boston. But, I mean, next few years, they're going to get better. So they're going to be a problem for Boston going forward. But either way, it's going to be interesting to see. I really like Philly this year. All right? I really do. Plus, I know I said that Philly, as far as an overall franchise, is a bit overrated, and they are. I didn't say anything about their fans or anything like that. They do probably have some of the best fans in the league, and that's one thing you think about too. All right, they got better fans than Toronto. Definitely got better fans than Cleveland. All right, home court advantage. Those games, it's going to be tough to win in Philly. All right, Philly can go out and win on the road, so it's going to be interesting to see. But that's pretty much what we've talked about so far. For this segment, we're going to talk about Kawhi coming back to the Spurs, what difference that makes. We'll be talking a bit about Gordon Hayward and the Celtics, all right? Talk about whether he's coming back or whatever. Talk about even if he should come back. We'll be doing that, and we'll be making my picks for tonight's NBA games. So let's get into it. Let's talk Kawhi first, all right? So Kawhi, all right? Talk to the media today, I believe it was, and said that the pain is starting to fade away. He should be returning soon. So he's going to be back this season. Remember Greg Popovich last week, I think it was, said he'd be surprised if Kawhi came back. I think Greg Popovich was just lying to us. All right? I just think that's all it was. He just Bill Belichicked us. But either way, Kawhi's going to be coming back, it's looking like. What difference does it make, though, honestly? Kawhi comes back. Spurs start playing better. All right, cool. Are they better than the Rockets? No. Are they better than the Warriors? Shouldn't even have to ask that question. You know the answer to it. All right. I don't know. I might just be underestimating the Spurs with Kawhi Leonard. And I'm just thinking more so, it'd be different if he was playing the entire season and the Spurs were competing, like with a 3 seed, and they were just at least up there with the Rockets and Warriors. And maybe that's just it. All right. Maybe that's all it is. It's just Kawhi's coming back late into the season. They're going to have to try and integrate him in. All right, you're going to have to switch some things up, and I just think it's too late for him to make a difference right now. And I just could be totally undervaluing him coming back to this team. I could be wrong. I'm telling you, I'm okay with being wrong on this situation. All right, but I just don't see a scenario where it matters him coming back. I just don't see them beating the Rockets or Warriors. Rockets, they do have a slight chance. Warriors, they have no chance. But like I said, I just don't see it happening. All right. And I think Kawhi also said that he wants to spend his career in San Antonio. And if you want that big shoe money from Jordan, you got to leave San Antonio. You got to go play for the Lakers. All right, you got to go play for a team like the Sixers. You got to go to New York. You got to go to those big markets in order to get that big money. All right, but I mean, if he wants to stay in San Antonio, he's gonna have to accept that money that Jordan's trying to offer him. All right, maybe Adidas swoops in. Adidas is starting to make a come up too, in all things shoes and sports. All right. As far as, I think, didn't Adidas sponsor Damian Lillard? Those are pretty nice shoes, too. Nike's still the top dog, I guess, and they got LeBron and all those other guys. But Adidas, as far as the whole shoe industry is going, they're starting to make a come up. All right? It's about time. Usually they've been known for soccer. I remember when I played soccer, I always bought Adidas cleats. So I think I only had, by last year, I had Nike cleats, and they started ripping on me. But either way, I mean, Adidas starting to make a come up in the sports world. But I don't know. We'll see what happens with Kawhi. So, like I said, I don't think it'll make much of a difference, but I just could be undervaluing the whole thing. So let's move on to the next topic. All right, let's talk Gordon Hayward. Let's talk Celtics for a sec. All right, Danny Ainge, Brad Stevens said he's not coming back, but for some reason, the Boston media is just being the Boston media. They are hammering the topic of it's possible. Could Gordon Hayward come back? Watch out. I wouldn't believe the Brad Stevens or Danny Ainge. They're just saying that. Like, I don't think Gordon Hayward's coming back. It's not within the Boston Celtics' recent philosophy to bring a guy like that back. All right, let's look. Boston has not rushed anything. They've been getting better through trades and obtaining draft picks. All right, they don't trade for 1-year rentals because you're going to lose a first-round draft pick for one. That's why they didn't go for a guy like Tyreek Evans. Okay, why would the Celtics, when they know they are one of the youngest teams in the league, okay, and one of the best teams in the East, why would they rush a guy like Gordon Hayward to come back? All right, why? Unless the dude is 100%, no soreness or anything in his ankle, is ready to go and be back the player that he was, then there's no reason to bring him back. All right, whatsoever. There's no need to rush it. This team has been rebuilding slowly year after year, and it's worked out. Why rush the whole process thing? Just save him for next year when he's completely 100%, all right? and back with the team. I just don't see why you bring him back, whether it be the end of the season or in the playoffs, and risk it. I mean, the team is already a top 2 team in the East. This team can compete with the Warriors if anything they've shown us during the regular season, again, the last 2 years playing against them, means anything. All right, they can beat the Cavs. They can compete with the Raptors. They can compete with the Rockets already without Gordon Hayward. Why risk it and bring him out here? It just would make no sense to me. All right? But you know the Boston media's got to have a narrative. They got to push the story so that way they get their views and clicks. I can't stand the Boston media. I can't. All right? I absolutely cannot. All right, and Boston fans too. Sometimes I can't stand them. They're the fans in the league right there. I kind of feel entitled. All right, feel like the team owes them to win. It doesn't. You're just fans. You go out and you watch the team win. Yes, you've been lucky enough to go through the Bill Russells, the Larry Birds, the Kevin McHale's, the Paul Pierces, the Garnetts, all those guys. I mean, I'm just naming people off the top of my head. There's plenty of Hall of Famers, the Bob Cousy's, all that. All right. So they've been pretty blessed with it. I guess that's why they've come to expect wins and all that. But I don't know. As far as Gordon Hayward coming back, don't bring him back. Just wait till next year. You don't need him this year. All right. So we'll see about that. But let's make our picks for tonight's NBA games. Believe we got 7 games going on. Got a bunch of good games to watch tonight. Gonna have a few games to watch that you can pretty much flip through. All right. So first up, we got the Jazz facing off with the Pacers. Jazz, I believe, we're favored in this one by 1.5. This one's in Indiana, though. I'm gonna go with the Pacers in this one. 22-11 at home. Jazz are 13-19 on the road. Yeah, the Jazz have been playing good as of late, but I think the Pacers are going to be able to pull this one out. Then we got the Raptors facing off with the Detroit Pistons. I'm going with the Raptors in this one. This one's in Detroit. Detroit's 20-13 at home. Raptors are 19-12 on the road, but Detroit just hasn't been that good of a basketball team as of late, so I'm going with the Raptors. Then we got the Grizzlies facing off with the Bulls. Adam Silver sent a warning to the Bulls saying, hey, take it easy on the tanking. All right, you can't be resting players like that. I don't really know if he can actually find teams for resting players, so I think it's just a whole bunch of nothing. Like I said before, I mean, Adam Silver can't do anything about tanking. He really can't, unless the team comes out and says, like Mark Cuban, yeah, we should tank. All right. But anyway, I'm going to go with the Bulls in this one. The Grizzlies are 5-25 on the road. Bulls are 14-18 at home. Got the better players on their team, so I guess that's just how it works. They're going to win this game at home. Then we got the Rockets facing off with the Bucks. All right. Rockets are on a back-to-back. Played against the Thunder yesterday on a 16-game winning streak. The Bucks are known to end winning streaks. All right. They are known. And I think it's going to happen tonight. I think the Bucks, they're at home, 20-13 at home. Rockets are 25-7 on the road, but I'm going to go with the Bucks in this one. I think this is the night the Rocket streak ends, right? The Bucks are notorious for ending these streaks. So yeah, I'm going to go with them. Then we got the Pelicans facing off with the Kings. Boogie was playing, mean a lot more, but he's not. Kings are 10-21 at home. I think got a worse road record than they do home record, or worse home record than they do road record. All right. Pelicans, Anthony Davis, trying to bolster his MVP campaign. Dude's been playing lights out as of late. All right. I'm going to go with the Pelicans. No reason to pick against them. It's a pretty easy game right here to pick. As for the next game, we got the Cavs facing off with the Nuggets. Nuggets 24-9 at home. Cavs 15-15 on the road. Nuggets coming off of a loss, currently on a back-to-back, second night of it here. Cavs lost to the Nuggets on Saturday. I think the Cavs are going to be able to pull this one out. All right, if they start Larry Nance, they're going to have a good chance. Tristan Thompson, there's stats that prove it. They're a worse off team with Tristan Thompson on the court than they are with Larry Nance. All right, I think the Cavs got to go and start Tristan. We got to start Larry Nance. You got to start doing whatever works. You can't be going with the same old. All right, like I said, the Cavs are not on that same tier with the Raptors and Celtics. So I'm gonna go with the Cavs in this one if they start Larry Nance. Either way, I'll go with the Cavs. I think they're going to be able to pull it out. And then as for the final game of the night, we got the Magic facing off with the LA Lakers. All right, Lakers been playing good basketball as of late. Lost a bit of a heartbreaker to the Trailblazers the other day. Should have won it, but last minute execution just was poor. But Magic are 7-26 on the road. Lakers are 15-15 at home. I'm going with the Lakers. Lonzo Ball's been playing well, and I think he's going to continue to play well. So I got that. All right, so to recap my picks, I got the Pacers beating the Jazz, the Raptors beating the Pistons, the Bulls beating the Grizzlies, the Bucks beating the Rockets, the Pelicans beating the Kings, Cavs beating the Nuggets, and the Lakers beating the Magic. All right, 3 upset picks tonight: the Bucks over the Rockets, Cavs over the Nuggets, and the Pacers over the Jazz. All right, so that's going to wrap it up for today's podcast. Thanks for listening. Today we talked about, what we talk about? Talked about yesterday's NBA games. We talked about the Sixers and Lakers. Talked about both conferences as far as how wide open they truly are. And for this segment, we talked about Kawhi, Gordon Hayward, and we made my picks for tonight's games. So let's get, once again, thanks for listening to the GSMC Basketball Podcast. I am your host, Jesse Tapia. We'll be back on Friday, so stay tuned till then, and we will talk to you later.
You've been listening to the Golden State Media Concepts Basketball Podcast, part of the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network. You can find this show and others like it at www.gsmcpodcast.com. Download our podcast on iTunes, Stitcher, SoundCloud, and Google Play. Just type in GSMC to find all the shows from the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network. From movies to music, from sports to entertainment, and even weird news. You can also follow us on Twitter and on Facebook. Thank you, and we hope you have enjoyed today's program.